What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Trick 10s. On today's episode, we are going to be replacing the transom in this 2017 Tracker Topper 1436. It's a small, tiny little riveted hull, and he's got some damage to his transom. The transom's already almost 10 years old, and he decided that he was going to cut some of the supports in the back and put in some storage compartments. And well, I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you guys what we got, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to fix it. I'm not going to be replacing it with a piece of board. We're actually going to use a PVC board. They make Starboard, OSB. There's all types of UHMW and different plastics you can get. This is a tiny little boat. I'm just going to use some PVC board that I picked up from Lowe's. It was about 60 bucks. I'm going to try to fix this transom with less than $100 in material. I'm going to turn the camera around. Let's check this thing out. All right, so check out this rig. The 1436 riveted hull. It's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's clean. It's been kept up pretty good. It's got a cute little trailer on it. He does need to do some modifications to this trailer. Just a few things to make this boat ride a little better on it. But look, you can see what he did. This is probably, I don't know. He's young. He's only like 19 years old. So he didn't know any better, but he decided that he was going to cut through this. And this is your main corner cap, like support for the whole transom. So these transoms are already chinky, super duper tiny. But this killed him right here. Now, I'm not sure that this was what did all the damage. I think that this might have happened when he was trailering it more so than on the water. But he put these little hatches in here, some cheap little plastic hatches. I mean, he's got a decent amount of tackle storage down in there, but you can see why he cut that out, because he wanted to be able to open this thing all the way up. So I'm going to actually just take a piece of 1/8 inch plate, and I'm going to weld it across here to try to strengthen it up and see how that does, and hopefully that'll be enough, because what I plan to do to this transom is beef this thing up big time. And you can see, you look down it, it's got a massive bend in it right here. The wood that's in here is broken. It's starting to split. I mean, you would think that they would have covered this with a sheet of aluminum to help, you know, the lifespan of this be longer, but they don't. And with these little Tracker Topper models, well, all you get is a piece of like 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8 plywood on the inside. And then you have this piece right here on the outside. It's about 5/8 of an inch also. So you don't have a whole lot of support to begin with. Let's check out the way this thing is put together. Now on the bottom down here, it has like a track. And this basically is a Z piece that comes up, out, and then back up. And then it has rivets through the bottom holding it in. And then you've got bolts in here that run through the wood and through the back. And that piece of wood just sits in there. Now up top, it's got the top cap. It comes all the way up and over. And this is actually attached. It's part of the transom. It's all one piece. So what you have to do to get this wood out of here is you got to cut this. I mean, a lot of times we remove these corner caps completely. You're gonna have to get a welder involved if you want to do one of these transoms. It's just inevitable. You got to do it unless you want to just bolt it and call it a day. But what we're going to do is obviously take all these bolts out of here. And then I'm going to cut this top piece. I'm going to cut it, probably have to cut it all the way across. I might just cut it right here instead of cutting it across here, because this is kind of already jacked up anyways, and I'll just come back and weld it in. But I don't know, regardless, we might have to take these completely off. But I am going to cut this top cap basically just right in the back side of it right here, just all the way across. I'm going to make a new piece for that, because I'm going to beef this thing up and make it a lot thicker. I got a sheet of 3/4, which is already thicker than what's here, so I might have to actually cut a little bit of the sheet off with like a router so it can drop in there, because I don't think we're going to be able to fit 3/4 in there. This looks like it's about 5/8, so I will have to do that. But I'm going to basically replace this piece of wood the way it is right now. You can see it comes up in the corner. It's just cut on an angle. We take all these bolts out, cut this top off, we can pull this wood right out. I'm gonna try to straighten it up the best I can, and then we'll put one piece in here, just like this one is in here. Instead of adding this piece on the outside of the back, I'm thinking what I might do is just not put that there and put an extra piece on the inside and sandwich it up, and that would make this 1.5 inches, which would be a whole lot stronger. If we do it that way, then this piece becomes an issue because it's in the way. But I mean, it's already broke right there, so you know, we got to address that anyway. So what I'm thinking, the easiest solution would be just go ahead and drill out these 3 little rivets right here, and I'm just going to take this piece completely out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm either going to try to straighten this and re-weld this, or I might just bend the new lip back on this. I don't know. I'm thinking we might just be able to straighten that and maybe stiffen it up a little bit. And then when we put this back in, well, it will just be shifted forward about 3/4 of an inch or 1 inch, and I'll just weld this piece back in. I'm gonna go ahead and weld up those 3 holes once I get this out and make sure it's ready to go. But that's the plan. I think it'll work. I'll show you this little piece of board that I got right here. This is just PVC board, standard stuff from Lowe's. It was like $65 or something. This is a 2 foot by 5 foot piece, or 54 inches, I think, actually. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna cut 2 11-inch strips out of this. That's gonna give us what we need, because the one that's in here is exactly 11 inches, and we're gonna replace that one just the way it sits. And the second piece, I'm gonna cut it short. I'm gonna bring it over here and butt it up against right here and have it sit flush here, and then we'll be able to run that bolt through it. Obviously these bolts will go all the way through both sheets, and then basically from this piece back, he's only going to have the one sheet there, and I think we're going to have to do it that way in order to slide it back behind this piece here. And I'm hoping we can do that. We'll see. If I have to cut some of that sheet down a little bit, we'll do something to make it happen. But regardless, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on the hyperlapse. I'm going to pull this boat up in the garage about halfway, and I'm going to start taking all these bolts out of here and taking everything off. And I am going to replace all these bolts with longer bolts, obviously. We're going to use some stainless bolts. I'm going to try to reuse some of the washers on them. You can tell all these have like plastic washers on them. So I'm going to keep those and reuse them same way. And the whole reason for that is to keep, you know, the first and non-first metals from touching each other. You got stainless and aluminum, and what happens is eventually, if they're sitting against each other, and they'll start to cause corrosion or oxidization, and it's just something you don't want to deal with. So it is important that you do put some type of a rubber or plastic washer on the back where your bolt is going to be sitting up against the actual transom. All right, let's get this thing rolling, guys. Alright guys, so check it out. Got this thing off of here, took all the bolts out, and I just cut this, you know, as high as I could get it. Just take that little cap strip off. You can see where we cut it off. We need to take no more than we had to off it, so right at the top, that's all you gotta do. Cut these pieces for your corner caps, remove those. I'm probably just gonna make them some new corner caps or something. I'm gonna do this different because obviously he's got those hatches in there, but regardless, this is how you do it. And then you can pull this wood out. Now, hopefully your wood is still in one piece. You want to try to leave it in one piece. It'll make it easier, because then you can just lay this on top of your new transom board and trace it. If not, you're gonna have to measure it out. Not the end of the world, but definitely easier if you can keep that in one piece. So now I'm gonna see if I can fit that board in there. I think I'll be able to fit it in here, but I don't think it's gonna fit inside of there. So I'm gonna have to take it and trim the edge of it and take like maybe an 1/8 or 1/4 inch just off that bottom so that it can drop all the way down inside of there. But that's my plan now. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and just make this piece, make this first one, get it all done and drop it in, get it fit, and then we'll figure out how we're gonna do the second one. Now I did go ahead and take this piece off too. I gotta hammer that back out and weld that solid. But what I did was I just ground the top of these rivet heads off, which is very easy to do. And you can see they're still sticking up there. We'll grind those the rest of the way out, and then we'll weld those up. But once you grind those off, you can just pry up underneath it, and that thing will pop right out of there. It's pretty simple. You can also take a center punch and smack those and drop those to the bottom. That's probably how I'll get that done. But now that we got to this stage of the game, you can see how this thing's put together, how it's opened up. One thing that is kind of stupid, but obviously if you don't have this hatch in here that he put in here, well, then you're not going to be able to get to this bolt right here. So if you're going to replace the transom on this type of boat, you're just going to have to cut the head off of that bolt, and then when you get the new transom in there, you're going to have to come in with some type of a wood screw or something and some epoxy, because there's no way that you're going to get inside of there unless you cut out a hole like this, which you can do. But probably your best bet would just be go ahead and cut these two corner ones off. Those are the only two that are inside of these compartments back here. So I think you'd be all right with that. But I'm gonna put you guys on the hyperlapse. I'm gonna figure out if I got a blade that I can cut the shape out of that PVC board over there, and we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. So we got her in there, and it looks pretty good. You can see how I did it. The first piece, the one that dropped all the way down, and that actually set into that saddle piece in the bottom. It was a little bit of a pain in the ass to get it in there. I used this like scraper tool to kind of pry it open to get it in there, but it went in there. And then I cut another one the same size, and I just notched out these corners, and it looks really good. Now he's got a true 1.5 inches thick of the PVC board, and he's got the aluminum behind that, which is like a 080 or 070. So we got to make a new cap for this. Obviously the old cap is small, it's not going to fit over this, and I don't have the ability to build that cap at my house. The only break I have is this little 2-foot break right here. So I'm going to take measurements for this. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this cap, I'm just make it like a channel, so it comes down on both sides, caps over it. But before I put that on, I'm going to make another piece to go in here. And I'm basically just going to have a sheet. I'm going to bring it straight down here, and then I have it return up underneath 3/4 of an inch. That way it'll cover this up, and it will make it a whole lot stronger that way. So it's just going to be one sheet. This covers all this up. That way you don't see any of this white. You can paint it. It'll come down, turn back, and then we'll get the cap. The cap's just going to be a C channel. It's going to run all the way across one piece. I'm probably going to make that out of 1/8 inch. I want it to be beefy, I want it to be heavy duty, so I'll make that out of 1/8 inch. And what I'm going to do with that is just come back and stitch weld it. Probably put 1 inch on, you know, I weld the corner solid, and then come like every 6 inches, I'll put like, you know, a 3/4 inch weld, or every 8 inches, 1 inch weld, something like that. I don't know. Same thing on both sides. Now, it is going to be difficult because once we sandwich it against this, well, this is going to be right up against it, so we're going to have to lightly just put a little tack weld and fuse each side, because we don't want to burn this up. But I've done it 100 times. We can definitely do it. That's the game plan. So unfortunately, there's not much more I can do right now tonight. I'm going to take some measurements, and I'm going to make this cap and the sheet piece for the inside. And I am going to kind of think about this. I'm thinking about making another gusset that kind of slopes down. Like, I don't know. I got to figure this out, because the ones that were on here, I mean, I could reuse them. I still got those over here, but they just look stupid with the cutout, and it's kind of pointless. So I don't know. We'll figure something out though. If nothing else, I'll just lay a plate up here and bring it back, you know, back here instead of coming all the way up there. I think it'll still be pretty strong. I mean, we'll figure it out. All right, so I'll make this stuff tomorrow at the shop, bring it home, we'll wrap this project up. All right, guys, so I made the pieces today, brought them home, just slapped them in here real quick to make sure it was going to fit like I wanted them to. You can see we got our transom cap piece right here, wraps down 1 inch on either side, and then this piece right here goes down and back under. I'm actually going to take this off because I just put it up here to make sure it's going to fit. But so you can see this piece, pretty simple. It's just got a return lip up underneath the bottom side, and that's basically just wraps around here to seal this all up, and then our bolts will go through everything and suck it in nice and tight. Now I am going to go ahead and cut another little piece. It's going to go up here, basically from this over, and that's just to finish this off. The handle will go through this and that, and that'll help hold it all together. But I just think it would look better because there's bright white in here, and we're just going to put a sheet over that. I'm going to cut a little piece out of this leftover piece of aluminum I got right here, and then we'll put this whole thing together. I'm going to put you guys on the hyperlapse. We'll go ahead and get this whole back transom area finished up, and then I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do with these corner caps yet, but we'll get that figured out in just a minute. Let's get back to work. Alright guys, check it out. Got these pieces up here bolted in. Everything looks really good. Sandwiched it up nice and tight. And I went ahead and notched the corner of this piece a little bit. I'm gonna do this a little bit different than it was originally. Originally this piece stopped short, like it was way back here actually. I'm gonna run it all the way over. I'm gonna tie it into the corner on both sides. And then we'll see about our corner caps. I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do with that yet, but if I bring this piece all the way over and weld it to the sides, it'll definitely make it strong. But I mean, this thing is already solid. It's solid as hell, man. It's really strong already. So we can get this piece in here, get the welder out, and put some tack welds on this, and then we'll figure out these corner caps. Let's get back to work. Check it out, man. Got this top cap in here on the transom installed. Welded this thing. It turned out really good, actually. I mean, for what we had to work with, it's super strong, dude. Like, it's super strong. I don't even know if I need any more supports in it, but I am gonna go ahead and put these pieces back in here. And then I got this stupid piece that was in the center here. And well, it's split right there. I think what I'm actually gonna do is just cut this all the way down, this piece right here. Because if I cut this off, then I'm just gonna put a new angle next to it and then weld it to this and then probably bolt it to the back of the transom. Because if you can see, when we put this in here now, I guess since we moved it farther back, well, it threw my angle off on the transom. And you can see, well, we got a big gap in there, and that's not gonna work. So for the sake of making this easy, I went ahead and I ground these rivets off. I ground them flush, and I just took a center punch, smacked them with a hammer, knock them through. I'm gonna clean that up from the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and weld that real quick, get that done. Then I'm gonna take this piece, I'm gonna cut this off right here with a cutting wheel, and I'm gonna get this staged up in here where it needs to be. And I'm gonna tack this down to the floor, and then I'll come back with an angle off of this. I'm gonna use a piece of 1.5 inch, 1/8 inch thick angle. That way it's gonna be thicker and stronger, and I might even just shoot a rivet in here or something to hold it while I tack it. Then I'll come back and weld this thing across here, and then probably put some through bolts back through the back side of the transom, and that'll finish that up. And I think what I'm gonna do, for the sake of already having these pieces, is I'm just gonna cut that out right there. Then I'm gonna take like a little strip, whatever this width is right here. I'm gonna run this over and back. I'll bend it like an angle piece, and then that will make that strong because it will make that connection with the extra angle going down. And I'll just clean this up, weld these back on both sides. Be done with this thing because it turned into a lot more work than I thought it was gonna be. But at this point, we gotta get this thing done, man. It's getting late. I'm getting tired, and I got other stuff to do. So we're gonna get this stuff installed in the boat, and then we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. All right, guys, so check it out. Last night I got this thing finished up, but I was too tired to finish up this video, so we got her done though. She looks good. I did decide I was gonna go ahead and reuse these pieces, and you can see I welded that piece of 1/8 inch in there to finish it off. There's a lot of welding on this thing, man, tons of welding. But the whole reason he cut that out originally, you can open this, and now he can open that. Don't have to worry about it. Transom super strong. Got our center brace in there. I went ahead and welded that thing also. I also put some bolts through it, bolted it through the bottom, some 5200, and I put some welds down there too. I mean, this thing is super duper heavy duty, man. He'd be able to run a 60 on this thing if he really wants to. I don't think he'll have any issues. I mean, he's got to be the only person in the world that has one of these tracker topper boats that has a transom like this on it. I can guarantee you that. Thing turned out sick though. I mean, all in all, I was right around about 120 bucks in material. I charged this dude a really cheap price for this. I only charged him 400 bucks, and this is probably more like an $800 job, but I felt bad for him. He's young and want to get him back out on the water, and he's never gonna have to worry about this transom again. I promise you that much. Turned out sick though. All right, guys, Tracker Topper 1436. We just wrapped this thing up, man. This dude has a transom on here that will outlive him probably, but kind of crazy. Dude's only 19, and when I first met him, I realized how old he was. I started thinking about it. I'm like, damn, my son is only 4 years younger than you, and it just really hits home, man. It puts things into perspective. You gotta help out people, man, especially the younger guys coming up. You know, they don't make a ton of money. They don't have full-time jobs, and they go to school still. So it's like, those are the type of people that I will help you out if I can. By no means am I in any position to give stuff away for free. I have my own family I'm trying to provide for, but you know, if I can help out, I will help out where I can. That's just the nature of the beast, and you know, karma. Karma is good. It's good to have good karma. I do believe that karma will come back to bite you if you do bad things. That's the way the world works. Regardless, guys, this boat turned out sick. I did want to touch on two things real quick. Shane Flint, his boat's done. That video is coming very shortly. That was a big build, 1860, well built. But he has his old boat for sale. It's a low 1660, and it's a roughneck, solid welded hull, good boat. That boat's gonna be up for sale if you guys are interested in that. I don't know what he wants for it yet, but if you guys are interested in it, you can hit him up at Shane Flint Outdoors. Not hard to find. He's on YouTube and social media. And I also do have this boat over here behind me. This is the well-built 1548. I need to sell that thing too. If somebody's interested in that, I will give you a good deal on that. We can build it out, or you can buy it as it is. Anyways, guys, I do appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. I hope you learned something about your transom. I hope this video helps you guys out. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. I will answer, and I will get back to you guys. I'll see y'all next time. Hit that like, subscribe button, leave a comment. Let's get back to work.